Monsieur Perkins, the floor is yours for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Singh, for being here. You spoke a lot in your opening, obviously, about food prices. It's the main driver of this initiative. But after 9 years, the NDP has voted for every single budget that Justin Trudeau has put forward. And Canadians are more miserable and hungry than ever. Just as an example, lettuce is up 94% in that time, onions 69%, cabbage 70% since your deal with the Liberals. And a Dalhousie study, the food professor as he calls himself, shows that carbon taxes are increasing wholesale food prices by 34%. So my question is simple. Will you finally admit that carbon taxes increase the price of food?
Well, a couple of things are just false in that comment. 9 years, we have not supported every budget. That's not true. And in terms of the cost that Canadians are going through, Canadians were asked this very same question. Canadians were asked, what do you think is a major driver of your groceries? And Canadians were asked, and they answered, they said, the major driver that's pushing up the cost of their food is corporate greed. And then we also had an investigation. We had the Competition Bureau look into this. And it is very clear that corporations are ripping off Canadians. In fact, economists have made it clear that more and more large corporations are ripping off Canadians. So we're going after the major driver.
Increasing the price of food, yes or no?
We know the major driver, which is pushing up the price of food, is corporate greed. So why would we, and I don't know why the Conservatives are ignoring the major driver and looking at other things. We have something glaring in front of us that's hurting Canadians. The massive profits being accrued by CEOs of these large corporations, and the Conservatives want to ignore that, the major driver of the high cost of food, and want Canadians to believe that they actually care.
Mr. Singh, you're ignoring my question on the.
Well, you're ignoring the major driver that is putting up the cost of food in our country.
Mr. Singh, you put a lot of fog in your support for the carbon tax recently at the Broadbent Institute. Do you support the carbon tax, yes or no?
Well, it's very interesting to me that we're talking about food prices, and I've made the assertion that corporate greed is driving up the cost of food, and Canadians agree with this assertion. And the member doesn't want to talk about corporate greed. The substance of this bill,
food prices, and
the substance of this bill is to take on corporate greed.
Will you answer a question, or are you just taking PMO talking points again? Does the carbon tax push up the price of food, and do you support the carbon tax? Yes or no?
The major driver pushing up the cost of food is corporate greed. And I don't know why the member doesn't want to talk about corporate greed that is ripping off Canadians. When Canadians go in the grocery store and they're paying more money than ever for their groceries, they know they're getting ripped off.
How many people
I don't know why the member doesn't want to talk about corporate greed.
How many people are now going to the food banks as a result of your support of this Liberal government?
As a result of subsequent Conservative and Liberal governments that have not taken on corporate greed, have ignored CEOs ripping off Canadians, right now 1 in 4 Canadian is skipping meals. There's record food bank usage because Liberals and Conservatives refuse to go after corporate greed.
When you visited striking Metro workers and went on their picket line, did you inform them that your brother and NDP spokesman both lobby for Metro?
First of all, that's patently false. And secondly, the member knows very well that we have opposed corporate greed when it comes to Metro, Sobeys, Loblaws, Walmart, Costco. But it's interesting to me that Conservatives will attack everybody, including my family, rather than attack the CEOs that are ripping off Canadians. That is very telling. That is very telling of who the Conservatives are. While I'm directly going after the CEOs of corporations.
Colleagues, Mr. Perkins, I'd appreciate if you could stay respectful in the words that you choose at this committee. I'll let you pursue.
He could avoid it if he answered the questions rather than avoiding them like the Liberals do. So
not at all, sir. You know that I've directly addressed the matter, which is that corporate greed is driving up food, and I'm attacking all large corporate grocery stores.
Chair, would you tell him to stop talking over me?
Maybe the member doesn't want to do that because his leader receives maximum donations from the CEO of Metro.
Point of order, Mr.
I'm willing
Chair.
to attack the CEOs of all corporations.
Mr. Singh, yes, Mr. Perkins.
The NDP leader is talking over my questions. He's a witness. He doesn't get to pose the questions, and he's harming the translation issues while he talks over me.
Well, from my standpoint, it's been going both ways, but I would appreciate that, and you are both skilled parliamentarians, the practice is usually that the answer should be about as long as the question. And the questions have been fairly long, Mr. Perkins.
No, they've been about 20
So
seconds.
please just try to keep that in mind going forward for all members. But Mr. Perkins, floor is yours.
So when you began the crusade on the grocery stores, did you clear with the ethics commissioner your stand because of your brother's conflict before you chose to attack all the other grocers except the one that he works for?
First of all, that's patently false, and the member knows it. I've attacked every CEO that's ripping off Canadians, including Metro, including Sobeys, including Loblaws. The member knows that. The member's lies will not change the fact that I'm right now talking about taking a corporate greed, where the Conservatives want to talk about everything but try to attack family members rather than attacking the corporate greed of these large corporations.
You've gone after Loblaws over 70 times and hardly ever mentioned the word Metro until we just asked you. So are you denying or saying that you did not clear your attack on the grocers and your direct conflict with your brother's work with the ethics commissioner? You didn't bother to do that?
The member knows that I have attacked all corporate greed by name, specifically including
Except
the
for your brother.
CEO of Loblaws, the CEO
Did you
of
ever
Metro,
meet with the
CEO
Did your brother ever
of,
meet with the CEO
of Sobeys,
of Metro?
The CEO. I've attacked Walmart, Costco.
Your
But the
answers along with my
Conservatives, though,
question.
Thank
are
you.
unwilling
Thank you,
to
Mr.
go
Thank
after
you.
corporate
Thank
greed.
you,
It's
Mr.
very
CEO of Metro.
telling
Mr.
that they're unwilling to go
Mr.
after
Singh,
corporate greed.
That's enough. We're out of time. I'll now turn it over. Okay, thank you, Mr. Singh. Mr. Perkins.
I want to go back to MP Singh. I want to go back to my question. Did your brother meet with the CEO of Metro? Yes or no?
Can you repeat the question?
Did your brother, who works for one of the largest lobbyist firms in Canada, meet with the CEO of Metro?
You know what's really interesting? Again, the Conservatives want to attack my family, but not the corporate greed of the CEO of Metro, Loblaws, and Sobeys. I wonder why.
Well, on April 1st, 2025, the Prime Minister is going to increase the carbon tax again, which is jacking up the cost of everything, including food, which you seem to be concerned about, but unwilling to do anything about, other than a puffery bill here. So on April 1st, 2025, when the carbon tax increases again, will you oppose that carbon tax increase, yes or no?
I think it's very telling that the Conservative member just said that a bill that goes after the bread price fixing, that goes after collusion, that goes after large corporations ripping off Canadians, his quote is, he called that a, quote, puffery bill. That is very insightful into the Conservatives' viewpoint of corporate greed.
So the answer is no.
They think that stopping corporate greed. I want Canadians to know this. I'm going to answer. I'm going to finish the question. I'm going to respond to your question. I'm going to finish it.
Longer than I asked.
Not at all. They specifically are referring to a bill that's going to take on corporate greed and stop what happened with the bread price fixing. He's referring to that as a puffery bill. That shows you where the Conservatives stand on this.
I want to go back to the ethics issue. Did you, yes or no, talk to the ethics commissioner or the conflict of interest commissioner before you went out against the grocery companies to inform them and get clearance because of your brother's role in defending and lobbying for Metro? Did you do that, yes or no?
First of all, that's patently.
Are you breaking the ethics laws?
Firstly, that's patently false. And secondly, I've attacked the Loblaw CEO, the CEO of Metro, the CEO of Sobeys. I've directly called them out for ripping off Canadians. I've not heard the Conservatives do that. And I wonder why.
So
I believe the reason is the Conservatives have no interest in going after the real reason why Canadians are paying the highest prices for groceries, which is corporate greed. They're going to ignore that and know what they're willing to do. They're going to attack anyone else, but for the real reason.
Mr. Perkins, Mr. Singh, it's impossible to hear. Je pense qu'on peut faire mieux.
We can do better, Mr. Perkins.
Where's yours?
Okay. So it'd be nice to get a straight answer for you once. You sound just like a Liberal minister. Yes or no, did you talk to the ethics commissioner to deal with your obvious conflict of interest?
The thrust of your question is, who am I attacking? I'm attacking the CEO of Metros. I'm attacking the CEO of Loblaws. I'm attacking the CEO of Sobeys. But the Conservatives are wanting to attack everyone else, even my family, rather than go after corporate greed. That is very telling. That is very telling.
Thank you, colleagues. That's all the time we had.